What up, Panther Nation? Ropp Star Gang. Happy Thursday. Thirsty Thursday is upon us. New chair. Thank God I needed a new chair. I needed a new desk chair. One that was comfortable, and this thing is very comfy. Let's get right into it, man. I mean, I hope y'all like the virtual background, by the way, by your boy himself. So I appreciate that. We're gonna just get right into it today. Because we're gonna go over this article by The Athletic about this Hunger Games thing, and we're really gonna dive into deep into what actually happened and behind the scenes. And this article really gives us what we're really looking for, right? So I wish I could share two screens at once, but I can't. So as you can see by the thumbnail, though, the thumbnail tells it all. The Carolina Panthers Hunger Games, right? I mean, it says it all. It says it all right here. Guys, as you can see, going across the board, but down here though, our nice little banner here going across the board. We are on the road to 5K subs. Okay, 5K subs. So pound that like button, subscribe to the channel, get in the chat. So get in the comment section, smash that post notifications bell so you don't miss out on any new content. And other than that, thank you for your continued support. That's basically what it says. And become a member today. All right, become a member today. All right. All right. So The Athletic came out with a great article. Somebody needs to find dirt on Tepper to get him out of ownership. I feel that, Elizabeth. I feel that. So let's get into this article. So let me present this article. All right. So here's the article. It's by The Athletic. And it's just talking about so this is the article by The Athletic. If you haven't seen it, it's right here. Okay. What happened with the Panthers? Okay. This is by The Athletic. What happened to the Panthers? Okay. Basically, I'm going to explain it to you in my terms and what I'm understanding. Okay. So the Carolina Panthers owner, David Tepper, who seems to feel that he's this self-proclaimed savior of the organization, basically, he feels that he is just this wonderful genius when he's not, right? And we all know that. Okay, we've seen his press conferences, we've heard him speak, and he's doing us no favors. Okay, and he's plunged this franchise into basically not only chaos, but but the thing is, with his catastrophic decisions that he's made, okay, he axed off Matt Rule in 2022, which Matt Rule right now looks 10 times better than what Frank Wright does, or did. We're going to dive more into that here in a second. And Tepper's quest was to find that ideal head coach. And now it's led him into a difficult path of egos, power struggles, and ultimately then you fire another head coach. David Tepper, if you don't know, okay, he's a hedge fund tycoon. He amasses wealth through calculated risk, okay? And he claimed that he had learned from his previous mistakes. However, the grand plan for him just crumbled down, okay? When he anointed Frank Wright as the chosen one. So it's a decision that would soon echo with this thunderous collapse of the Panthers, okay? Okay, and so we all know that David Tepper, okay, his net worth is eclipsing of $20 billion, okay? His net worth is $20 billion, all right? $20 billion. And we all know that. That's why he's able to pay all these guys still. Right? This is why he's able to pay these guys. And he's still paying them. He's still paying Matt Rule. He's now still paying Frank Wright. You know? And this is what we're dealing with. Okay? Because he handed Wright a 4-year deal. 4-year ownership. 4-year deal. Sorry, not 4-year ownership. Sorry. Should have been Steve Wilkes, not Wright. Absolutely. Should have been. What do y'all think about... Oh, by the way, guys, what do y'all think about the background, the virtual background of the stadium? Y'all like that? Just let me know if y'all like that. I think it's cool, but it is what it is. Really expecting the former coach of the Colts to be some architect of resurrection. And I'm basically breaking down what this article is saying, okay? That's why we're not going through it. We're just talking about it because this is what we're hearing, okay? This is where this Hunger Games is coming from, the Athletic that brought this to light. And I'm thankful that they brought this to light because we need to understand what the hell is going on and what is going on in the background, right? And we've been blinded. And the thing that's been blinding, though, is the desperation for success for David Tepper. And Tepper believes that Wright could mold Bryce Young into this superstar, okay? But as the Panthers nosedive into a pit of despair, because that's basically what happened, they nosedive in a thing. Oh, you like that, Elizabeth? Thank you. I worked hard on it. I'm not gonna lie. It took me at least 4 hours. So it took me at least 4 hours to make this background. It was pretty insane. Anyways, but as you're coming in, make sure you pound that like button. Make sure you pound that like button. We're going to continue going through this article. Now, I'm not going through the article. I'm leaving the article just here. I basically rewrote the article and put it in my own words just for you guys to understand it. You can go read it yourself if you want. I'm just breaking this article down because this is what everything we're seeing and the media about, right? About this whole Hunger Games thing. All right? So that's what we're talking about here. Okay. So again, Tepper believed that Wright could mold this Bryce Young into this superstar quarterback. But that just nosedive into a pit of despair because Tepper's impatience became known. And then you get Bryce Young with the first overall pick. And it's tangled in with a nightmare of sacks and quarterback hits. And there seems to be no resolution to fix that offensive line. And there hasn't, right? Again, Bryce has been sacked 44 times so far this season. All right. And he's been, and 33% of the time when he's dropping back, he's got pressure. Granted, he has his own issues too, though. Okay. And we're going to talk about that and what his issues are. But this team took a gamble with Bryce as their future quarterback. And Tepper watched helplessly as his investment because, this hedge fund guy, that's why he's made his money. He's an investor. He's a risk taker. And it's just now seems to have deplenished. All right. Destroyed. Okay. Gone. Okay. And thank you, Panther Raider X. And so that's the issue. He had this world-renowned idea that Bryce Young was it. Right? Some of you believe he is. Some of you believe that he is not. For me, I'm 50-50 on it. But again, it's a sudden, ruthless move by Tepper. You fired Frank Wright on November 27th. Right? marking the shortest coaching tenure in NFL in 45 years. And that curtain just has fallen on Reich's disastrous time here. But the drama unfolded behind closed doors because The Athletic investigated a toxic and uncovered a toxic Hunger Games culture within Bank of America Stadium, which with these coaches engaged in a backstabbing spectacle, which then is sensing that Reich's imminent demise was because of assistant coaches embarked on a self-preservation frenzy, undermining colleagues, texting David Tepper directly behind Frank Reich's back. I mean, that's an issue. That's an issue. Chris Tabor's probably one of them. Who knows? Maybe Thomas Brown's one of them. Was Deuce and McCown one of them? I don't know. Because they got fired too. So it makes me think no. Was Sean Jefferson one of them? What coach? So the people that are still here, was that the coaching staff that was texting David Tepper behind Frank Reich's back? And if y'all go read this, it's crazy, man. It's crazy to think about this. It's crazy to think about this. Right? But we all know that Tepper is now notorious for meddling in football decisions. And to add fuel to the fire that's going on here, instructing Reich to address Bryce Young's footwork? David Tepper was like, right, you're not doing anything about it, so let me step in and show you how it's done. I've never been a football coach in my life, never called plays, never been a play designer, but I've done a lot of risk taking. I've done a lot of hedge funds. But you need to address Bryce Young's footwork. This guy is worse than Jerry Jones. This is Jerry Jones 2.0. He's got Jerry Jones at this point beat by a mile in meddling in football operations. You know what I mean? Oh, we're going to get into that too, Elizabeth. If you read this article, we're going to get into that too. We're going to get into that. So David Tepper's literally watching football on I guess at every practice, at training camp, every single day, right? Watching this kid play. And then all of a sudden, he's like, hey, man. Hey, Frank, you need to address this boy's footwork. And we all know his footwork is bad. His footwork is bad. His footwork is bad. He's dropping back too far. He's standing on his tippy toes. He's not stepping into throws. When pressure, he's not able to, and he's not able to step in some of his throws, granted, of the offensive line. That's true too. But there is times where when he does have time to make these throws, he does not step into them. He seems way too comfortable back there. But also he doesn't seem confident either. And that's another issue. They didn't want to ruin, because we've seen articles and we've seen talks about that they didn't want to ruin the boy's confidence. But you can coach a guy hard and not ruin the kid's confidence. You can coach a kid hard and not ruin his confidence. I mean, tell me when I'm speaking lies. Right? I mean, tell me when I'm speaking lies. Because I know I'm not speaking any lies. This is crazy. Telling you guys, y'all need to continue to read this article. Continue to read this article. But I'm breaking it down for you right now. So stay here. Stay here. If you want to hear me break this article down. I'm breaking it down for you. All right? I am breaking it down for you. Okay? So he adds fuel to the fire to tell Wright to work on Bryce Young's footwork. Again, grappling with these repercussions of his impulsive decisions. Okay. He had previously pursued coaches to switch defensive schemes and chased after quarterbacks in a misguided pursuit of success. Now, leaked sources in this article reveal that Tepper's internal struggle before firing Frank Reich, the quarterback struggles to grasp Reich's offense and this offensive line, convinced that Tepper that the organization wasn't nurturing Young, but sabotaging him. So basically, what he was saying is that we all know that Frank Reich wasn't willing Frank Reich wasn't willing to, what I'm understanding is Frank Reich wasn't willing to change anything. He wasn't willing to change his scheme up to help strengthen, to benefit Bryce's strengths. He wasn't willing to help and develop the kid properly. Sounds like to me. But again, he also tried to discipline him, but then he got soft on him and said he didn't want to get too hard on him because he didn't want to ruin the boy's confidence. Well, the offensive line already did that, but that's icing on the cake. Again, but here's the thing: we got lied to by Frank Reich about this whole beautiful playbook that he had at design, that he was flapping his gums about, saying, "Oh, I've got it. I've got this great playbook no one knows about. It's going to go great. Any quarterback can work in this system." Reich's grand vision of assembling a top-tier coaching staff crumbled into a deep black hole because of the conflicting personality, the schemes, and then Tepper, your owners, insisting retaining certain staff members from Rule's era to add more fuel to the brewing chaos. Then apparently Reich's not allowed to bring in his own coaching staff, so Tepper's meddling in with that as well. So it's like Frank Reich wanted his way, David Tepper wanted his. Two were both butting heads, and then shit just hit the fan. Frank Reich decided, okay, well, if you're not going to let me allow my coaching staff, then I'm just going to run the offense the way I want to. Screw you, David Tepper, and really, I give kudos to Frank Reich on that, saying, hey, you hired me to come here to be a head coach. I'm going to run this offense the way I want to. Problem is with Frank Reich that I think that got him fired, that he wasn't willing to change up the offense, wasn't willing to change the scheme, wasn't willing to help and develop Bryce the way he should be. Granted, I think he let his pride get ahead of him because he felt that this playbook, that so-called playbook that he had, was going to work. And I also think that the playbook, though, was built mainly for CJ Stroud, not Bryce. So, there's so much speculation here. There's so much drama here, so much egos. Again, comes down to too many cooks in the kitchen. Too many cooks in the kitchen. That's what it comes down to. Forget your feelings. This is football. I don't care if truth hurts your feelings. Bryce always saying he needs to be better. That includes taking constructive criticism. I love it, Elizabeth. Elizabeth is coming in hot. Elizabeth is coming in hot with this comment. I love it. I love it. I love this comment. You should be able to take constructive criticism. You came from Alabama, Bryce. You came probably from one of the most constructive criticism head coaches in college football, much less basically a guy who probably could have coached in the pros, but he was making so much money, so successful, was having recruiting classes that were insane. and winning national championships, why would Nick Saban leave to come to the pros? You know what I mean? But still, at the end of the day, you came from a constructive criticism background. Frank, a.k.a. the Clown. All right, so let's continue talking about this article because we're going to be on this for a hot minute. I'm not going to lie to you guys. So the league sources reveal that Tepper's internal struggles before firing Frank Reich was that the fact that the quarterback was struggling, apparently couldn't grasp Frank Reich's offense, which blows my mind that this kid who has apparently one of the best processing minds coming out of college couldn't grasp this offense. Obviously, the offensive line was an issue, okay? But this whole offensive line, this team, we were convinced that this offensive line, the wide receivers, the running back room, and this quarterback, because Scott Fitter said it himself, he said there was only one thing on paper that they disliked. Other than that, he said this roster is ready to win now. Scott Fitter said that. So we got lied to there. You know, Frank Reich bringing in this Avenger coaching staff, which crumbled into pieces because David Tepper took that gauntlet and flicked his finger like that. And said, bye Frank Reich, bye Deuce Staley, bye Josh McCown. But again, Frank Reich flapping his gums about a beautiful, wonderful playbook that he has that nobody else knows about, that no one can come up with this scheme with and all this stuff, and that they're going to have this high-powered offense, and we got told lies there too. So we got lies from an owner, we're getting lies from a GM, we're getting lies from our head coach. Again, what it comes down to is that the fact that David Tepper meddling in operations needs to stop. Scott Fitter deserves to be fired because he is a terrible GM. He can't draft. The scout team needs to be fired because they can't scout worth shit. Then it comes down to the Frank Reich sealed his fate when he wouldn't change up the scheme and wouldn't develop Bryce the way he was supposed to. So you didn't do anything to build around his strengths. Again, too many cooks in the kitchen. And then Tepper's insisting, retaining certain staff from the rule team to add more fuel to the fire, which brewed a bunch of chaos because then Frank Reich's not allowed to bring in some of his staff that he wants to bring in. So it was just a big mess. It's just a big mess. Too much back and forth, clashing of the heads. And that's what happened, at least from that standpoint. So now as you continue to read through the article, it'll say that, then Tepper appoints Chris Tabor as the interim head coach. And of course, we all know the first casualties after Frank Reich gets fired is Josh McCown, Deuce Staley. And because there was perceived lack of toughness on Young, didn't align with the ruthless narrative unfolding in Carolina. So now that the Panthers offense, as you continue to read through this article, it continues to go on and say that the offense nightmare obviously has continued to persist. And Young, battered and bruised, Tepper's desperate plea to address Young's footwork came too late, in my opinion. And it should, but here's the thing, that if your owner is noticing it, and we're noticing it as fans, because he does have bad footwork, what the fuck was Frank Reich doing then? Was he too worried? It sounds like to me that Frank Reich was pissed off because he didn't get what he wanted. He didn't get CJ Stroud. He didn't get his coaching staff that he wanted. And he chose to just fuck shit up because he didn't get what he wanted. So he's a baby back bitch of a head coach because he didn't get what he wanted. And he wasn't willing to change the scheme up around Bryce to build his strengths up. But now this season has just plunged into a further despair now. So Reich's firing as you continue to read, has marked the end of an era. And if you highlight the disarray in this offensive strategies, Wright's attempt to blend conflicting philosophies resulted in a dysfunctional offense that mirrored nothing from his illustrations and coaching past. Now, a lot of people, as you continue to read on in this article, critics are arguing that General Manager Scott Fitterer failed to surround Bryce Young with adequate playmakers because of that controversial trade for DJ Moore, Christian McCaffrey gone, right? But he also, if we think about it, what about Hassan Reddick? Okay. What about him? What about not re-signing him? What about not re-signing Brian Burns this offseason, or trading him last year for 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick to the Los Angeles Rams? Under Fitterer's watch, as this explains in the article, the Panthers plummeted to a 13-33 record since 2021, which then is that is the league's worst winning percentage with the Chicago Bears under Scott Fitterer. How this man is still here as a GM is beyond me. Let me repeat that to you again. Ever since Scott Fitterer has gotten here, the Panthers' record with Scott Fitterer here is 13-33 since 2021. That's the league's worst winning percentage alongside the Chicago Bears. Guys, as you're coming in, make sure you pound that like button. Get in the comment section. I love to hear y'all's thoughts. I see y'all commenting. Make sure you pound the like button. Share the live. Greatly appreciate it as we go through this article. I know I'm not flipping through the article. I'm explaining the article to you. So, as you continue to read on, then it starts talking about how Reich's replacement, but I guess technically you could say Chris Tabor, but then it's talking about how Thomas Brown struggled to salvage the season, this season basically, which I don't see any salvaging here. So we're talking about this article from The Athletic, and if y'all don't know, okay, so that's what we're talking about here. So I see some of you comment. On a bright note, we got a second-round pick. First, Panther Raider X, that is not a bright note. Tyree Ross, what's going on, Clay? What's going on, Tyree? So we're just breaking down this article because this is what it's about. Okay, this is breaking down everything that's going on that has basically gone on since David Tepper's taken over, Frank Wright's coaching time here, and Scott Fitterer. Okay, that's what we're breaking down. We're breaking down this article. I'm not flipping through it. I'm just want you to see the article from The Athletic. If you want to read it yourself, that's fine. But I'm breaking this down for you. Oh, I can tell you, Elizabeth, who built the Legion of Boom. From my understanding, Pete Carroll had every involvement in building that team over there in Seattle. Well, of course he did. He was the head coach, but he was the one making the picks. Pete Carroll was definitely the one who was making those picks. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I'm sorry. I don't. Scott was an assistant, and Seattle's still drafting good, so I think it wasn't him. Exactly, Josh. It wasn't him. It was Pete Carroll. I guarantee you it's Pete Carroll, okay? I'm willing to bet money that it was Pete Carroll. Okay? So as you continue to read through this article, now we get into this whole thing about Rice replacement. And then talking about Thomas Brown's struggles. And it's saying that the offensive line is in shambles, which it is. We all know that. Then it talks about how Wright's erupted reversal in the play calling duties. You know, Frank Wright first. Thomas Brown 3 games, back to Frank Wright, which then just further divided an already fractured coaching staff. And then apparently, as that continues to go on, as we continue to read through, behind the scenes, a dissenting voices wanted to bench Young in favor of Andy Dalton. But here was the issue. They feared of retribution in their opinions. Because earlier attempts to coach Young hard gave a way too soft approach. Then Rich raised questions about the true nature of this coaching staff. The issues with the scheme fit, the offensive line injuries, Young's constant pummeling painted a dismal picture of Tepper's grand vision. The search for a new coach, likely with an offensive background, looms as Tepper contemplates yet another overhaul. So while this is all going on, Tepper plots his next move. Right? Staley McCown, obviously they're trying to figure out their futures. We face the ominous prospect of being the NFL's first team to go 1-16 in the era of a 17-game schedule. The shadow of Wright's departure now looms over our organization. Players acknowledge that the turmoil runs more profound than the ousted than the coaching staff. Tepper's promises the Panthers remain a franchise in disarray and desperately seeking a path to redemption. And that's basically breaking it down. It came down to the fact that David Tepper's meddling in football operations. Now that we have everything, this article tells us everything that has happened behind closed doors. That's what this article is about. It tells us everything that has happened. Right. We can sit here and put blame on the kid, right? We can sit here and put blame on Bryce. He has his issues for sure. But again, I've been telling y'all this on my channel. And when are y'all going to listen to me? That it starts from the fucking top. It starts from the top. Y'all want to sit here, and all these other content creators want to go ahead and blame Bryce for the reasons why this team is in such disarray. Is he part of the issue? Yes. Is he the full-blown issue? Absolutely not. You read this article, it's a absolute shit show. That's why I tell you guys in the chat, when you sit here and want to blame Bryce for everything, I'm not saying Bryce is the guy, guys. Y'all got to understand that. I'm not telling you he's the guy. I am telling you that you can't fairly evaluate a kid when an organization is in this kind of disarray. Yes, does he have his footwork issues? Does he have some arm issues? Does he have some decision-making issues? Yes. I'm calling out all content creators, and they know who they are. I'm calling out all content creators. I'm calling out all my subscribers. Anybody that comes in this chat, I appreciate your support, but I'm calling you out. Stop blaming the rookie for an organization that is in more disarray than we've ever seen, which we could become one of the worst teams in NFL history in this era with a 1-16 record. Not only that, your GM chose to make some risky decisions by trading away Christian McCaffrey, trading away DJ Moore, and you traded a mortgage to get a first-round pick, which could go down to one of the worst in NFL history if Bryce Young does not progress and CJ Stroud continues to succeed. But I'm telling you now, from reading this article, you will understand why I'm saying that. Because now we get the full-blown scoop of what happened behind closed doors. It started from the top with Tepper meddling in football operations, choosing the next quarterback of this team, choosing to keep some of Matt Rule's staff here, and instead of letting Frank Wright choose his own staff. Our GM did not do anything correctly to bolster up this team from a talent to depth standpoint. I've been saying this from the beginning, and when are you going to realize it? He did not bring the right cats here. You've got a 33-year-old Adam Thielen outworking these guys that you drafted in the second round. That's Terrace Marshall, Jonathan Mingo. Granted, Mingo has progressed. Mingo has gotten better. He's getting more targets. He's catching more balls. But your best wide receiver, the only one that seems to consistently get open is a 33-year-old Adam Thielen. Make that make sense. Then let's also talk about this offensive line that finished top 10 last year that we all thought was going to be so great. But see, the issue is that, yes, injuries are an issue. But we chose to stick with developmental talent. But yet we don't have but Frank Wright wasn't even willing to develop his quarterback. So what makes you think this coaching staff was going to develop Nash Jensen, Cade Mays? Chandler Zavala. What made you think that this coaching staff was going to develop players? You should have kept the veteran players that have played in the league instead of trying to bring in offensive linemen that are just fresh meat. I see it that you're trying to build for the future, but right now your future was Bryce Young. You could have built the offensive line later on. You could build the offensive line from a free agent standpoint. There's other options out there. There's other ways to go about it. So Scott Fitter, you're next on the chopping block. That's for dang sure. You signed Miles Sanders, that it ain't worth a shit. Look at his contract. Granted, I hate to say it, prayers out to Hayden Hurst, but another guy that you signed that hasn't really proven himself here. I think he's a dog, but I just don't think it's a good. Was the right place for him. I don't think any player that comes here is in the right place until David Tepper stops meddling in operations. They get the right GM that can draft and scout talent and brings in a head coach that actually gets to choose his players and coaching staff. It's just like, think about it from like a draft day standpoint. You ever seen the movie Draft Day? Remember the part where the owner's like telling them to draft that quarterback? That's like David Tepper. And that GM is fighting for his job when he really wanted to go for the linebacker and the running back. And made the smart move by doing so to benefit his head coach. That's how it works. You go watch David Tepper. Go watch Draft Day. Go watch Draft Day. Maybe you would understand better if you watched that movie as an owner. I know it sounds nuts, but still. So, Scott Fitter making those trades, trading the mortgage away. Frank Wright. Like I said, I told y'all. Yeah, go learn how to own through a movie. I mean, I know it sounds crazy, Panther Raider X, but maybe he would learn his lesson. Great movie though. Draft Day is such a good movie. It's got to be one of the top football movies of all time, or at least top 10. But again, it starts from basically from this article though. I'm going to end it with this, and then we're going to get into my NFL weekly picks. So stick around for that, and then we're going to go into a Carolina Panthers mock draft. again, it starts from this. It starts from the top. Like I told y'all, I've been telling you this. It starts from the top. David Tepper getting involved in football operations way too much. He's getting involved in the coaching staff, telling them what plays to run. He's telling them, or giving them plays to say, hey, run this. He's telling them, the GM and the coaches, that we're going to draft this guy, not that guy. He's getting the final say on that, it sounds like to me. And then, he's choosing the coaching staff over the head coach, letting him choose his own coaching staff. And then he's telling the defense and the offense what schemes that he wants the team to run. How does that work? Then you've got, Scott Fitter. From this article, my understanding is, and I've been saying this too, because the article says the same thing I've been telling y'all. Scott Fitter, scout team, and himself are absolutely god-awful. Scott Fitter did not build that Legion of Boom there in Seattle. Pete Carroll did, because we're figuring that out now. Again, ever since Scott Fitter's gotten here, this team has gone 13-33. That is the same winning percentage as the Chicago Bears right now. So we're basically the Chicago Bears without a first-round pick. And guess who has our first-round pick? The Chicago Bears. Make that make sense. And then you make these trades. You're not committed to the player. You make these trades. You're not committed to the players. Your key players like Brian Burns. You make the trade a mortgage away. You trade your Christian McCaffrey. You trade DJ Moore. And picks to go up and get Bryce Young. Now, I know that's not your choice, Scott, because it was the owner's choice, which is definitely true from this article. But you still didn't bring in the right talent. You didn't bring the right depth in. And you chose not to trade away Brian Burns for 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick, nor did you choose to re-sign him. So it shows me, from this front office standpoint, if you're committed to your key players, that you're not. And basically, this team's could be one team, the first team in NFL history to go 1-16 in the era of a 17-game schedule, which you don't even have a first-round pick to show for that. Then on top of that, you got Frank Wright, who's willing to not change up his offensive scheme. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. I just had to shut my door. But again, then it goes to Frank Wright. So again, starts from there. So we talked about the owner. Then it starts from Scott. Then it starts to Frank. So now we're at Frank. So basically from this article, Frank wasn't willing to change his offensive scheme up to help develop Bryce. He wasn't willing to. At first, he was hard on Bryce, then got soft on him because they felt that Bryce couldn't take the constructive criticism. David Tepper had to tell Frank Wright to work on Bryce's footwork, which we all know that Bryce's footwork is an issue. We've watched it. We've seen it. We broke it down on game film. But your owner sees it. But, I mean, how do you not? Or do you just not care, Frank? Did you just come here to collect a paycheck? Or is it that you were just willing not to help the kid out because you didn't get the coaching, certain of the coaching staff, you didn't get the quarterback you wanted, But then you were blabbing about this playbook that any kid or any quarterback could run. But yet he, who is Mr. Processor, Bryce Young, is having a difficult time processing it. And then we see the struggles on the field. The lack of confidence, not stepping in the throw, dropping back too far, holding onto the ball too long, jittery footwork. Granted, the offensive line's not helping him either. Okay. Wide receivers aren't getting open either. Again, it starts from the top and has worked its way down to the guy that you drafted at the first round, and now everything is just folding down into flames. So welcome to the Carolina Panthers Hunger Games, where your owner is going to be your head coach, your GM, and he's going to be also the play calling as well. Okay? And then you're going to be one of the worst organizations, maybe in NFL history, or could end up being that way. Okay? So, welcome to the Carolina Panthers Hunger Games. Get your tickets right here. And enjoy the slaughter. Enjoy the shit show. Because that's what it is. Because it starts with that man right there in the middle. It worked its way down to the GM that I didn't put on there. But that's kind of self-explanatory. Then it led to the head coach right there to the right. And then it leads down to the guy that you brought in here. So from this article, y'all should go read it. I just broke it down for you. But go read this article. This tells you everything as to why this organization is where it's at today. I broke it down for you, but just go read it because it's insane. I don't know how the Athletic was able to pull this off. Marcos Cash is in here. What's up, Marcos? I don't know how the ownership or how the Athletic was able to pull off this article, but they did a hell of a job. This literally, again, I told y'all, this is why, listen, I'm not saying, this is why I told y'all it starts from the top. Exactly, Elizabeth. But I've been saying it on my channel. I've been saying this for months on my channel, that this is the reason why we're in disarray. I've been saying that Scott Fitterer is basically Jerry Jones 2.0. Scott Fitterer, him and the scout teams have done nothing to help and develop the talented depth, and the trades were awful, the risky trade moves and all of that. Frank Wright's offensive play calling and scheme not only doesn't fit the players, but he wasn't willing to change things up because he believed that this whole playbook that we were getting told this offseason he was flapping his gums about was the best thing since sliced bread. But we got lied to there. We got lied by our head coach. We got lied by our GM. We got lied to by our owner. And we're going to continue at this rate. The only way that this gets changed is that David Tepper takes ownership and responsibility of his actions. He fires Scott Fitterer. He brings in a GM like an Adam Peters or the assistant GM over there in Kansas City. And you bring in a head coach that are on the same page between the GM and the head coach. And David Tepper says, okay, I'm going to take a step back now and let y'all do your thing. GM or the head coach and the GM get to draft the players. They get to choose the players to sign who are they're on the same page. And the head coach gets to use whatever offensive scheme, defensive scheme they want to use, and he gets to bring in his own coaching staff. That's what has to happen in this coming off season. Because if not, we're going to continue to be going through this cycle. So again, I've been speculating this. I mean, you're exactly right, Elizabeth. This article confirms everything we've all been speculating, but I've been saying it before this article even came out. But they just took it. They took a huge deep dive into this, and I'm glad they did. And I was glad I was able to bring you my thoughts on it and break the article down for you. But I've been saying it for months. And Bryce has his issues. Sure, we can blame him. But again, it's told y'all it starts from the top, because you read this article, it may make you think twice about just blaming Bryce Young. Just saying. Not saying Bryce is the guy, but I'm just saying he ain't the full-blown issue. He ain't the full-blown issue. Because there was too many egos, there's too many cooks in the kitchen, and now it's just, we're an absolute dumpster fire right now. All right, let's get into the weekly picks. Now that we got some good games. All right. I know that you see that I've got the Panthers losing. I think that's kind of self-explanatory. We're going to do a preview and prediction of that tomorrow. There's a lot of thrilling matchups, and there's only 2 teams on the bye, which is crazy. Because now the playoff landscape is shaping up. Because some games are going to be, I think, anticipated to be some colossal clashes. I think there's going to be some closer games than people think. Because if you think about it, we're having a deja vu moment right now. Okay? The Philadelphia Eagles are taking the center stage for the 3rd consecutive week, because they're hitting the road to go face the Dallas Cowboys in a big NFC showdown. And then a win for the Cowboys would tie both teams at 10-3. So that intensifies the race of the division right there. So Dallas has been a force at home. They've been boasting a 14-game win streak and averaging a formidable 36-6 points per game during this stretch. Now, and I'm just the 14-game winning streak has to do with this stretch. All right, it has nothing to do with what's going on. Like, I'm not talking about this season. They're not on a 14-game winning streak season. It's just during this time of the year and stretch. Now, if you turn your attention to the AFC, think about it this way: the Buffalo Bills are still trying to fight for their preseason hopes, and they got to go up against Kansas City. Now, this could be a preseason matchup, and it could be an AFC Championship preview, maybe. But the Bills find themselves in a must-win scenario. It's like the Bills have to win out, basically, at this point. Or they've got to win at least the next 4 games, I think, to even get in, to have a chance to get in. You got the Bengals. You got both teams relying on backup quarterbacks here. You've got the Bengals with the Colts. And a Bengals victory would draw them with the level of the Colts, securing that tiebreaker. So that kind of keeps their playoff hopes alive. But in terms of points spread, brought to you by BetUS.com. Brought to you by BetUS. Okay. The only 2 teams boast a margin exceeding a touchdown. Okay. So the Baltimore Ravens favored by a touchdown against the Los Angeles Rams. The San Francisco 49ers carrying double-digit favoritism against Seattle Seahawks. The week's lowest over-under is in Pittsburgh at 30 points for the Steelers and Patriots matchup. And then while the Cowboys versus the Eagles clash in Dallas holds the highest 52.5 points. All right. So that's brought to you by BetUS. Sign up for free today, and they'll match up to 125% bonus on your first bet. All right, so let's get into the first matchup. We got the New England Patriots taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kenny Pickett is sidelined, which means Mitch Trubisky is taking the lead here. The over or under is set at 30 points, marking the lowest of the NFL season. The Patriots struggle as underdogs, facing a challenging matchup, having allowed a mere 26 points over the past 3 games, but still seeking a win. I think the Steelers bounce back here. I just don't trust the New England Patriots right now. They're in so much disarray as well. Basically between quarterbacks as well. And then the question is Bill Belichick going to be back in a New England on the New England sideline as a head coach? We'll see. But I got the Steelers winning this matchup. Okay. Los Angeles Rams are riding a 3-game winning streak here now, which now has injected themselves back into the NFC wildcard race. They're facing the Baltimore Ravens, who have defensively just excelled. There are some questions on the offensive front. The Rams look to continue to resurge their season and continue to move forward. But I think the Ravens right now, are Super Bowl contenders. It's hard for me to go against them. Give me the Ravens over the Rams. Give me the Ravens over the Rams. And you can see the check mark there for each and every game that I'm going with. And I'm probably going to put this parlay in. I'll probably put a parlay in for this on BetUS. Last week, I put every game of my picks in the BetUS. Put like $5 down to win like $5,000. So, you never know. You never know. Plus, it's free, with that 125% bonus, you put $100 down, they'll give you a 125%. Basically, you get a free $125 on top of that parlay. So you never know. You never know what you could hit, man. You never know what you could hit. Divisional clash. We got the Detroit Lions leading that NFC North. They're facing the Chicago Bears. Coming off a bye week, the Lions, despite their success, show signs of defensive vulnerability, having conceded over 330 yards in 4 consecutive games. But I still think that offensive is still explosive there in Detroit. Give me Detroit over the Chicago Bears. Now we got the NFC South. It's at stake at this point. It's only going to take one team's going to win this division by 1 win. Okay. And the Falcons got 1 game ahead of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Saints. They're aiming to sweep the Buccaneers after a close victory in Week 7. Atlanta's quarterback situation kind of adds an intriguing matchup with Desmond returning as the starter after losing and regaining the position. I think the Falcons actually sweep the Buccaneers and take this one and take this game. In a surprising AFC matchup, you've got the Cincinnati Bengals with the backup quarterback Jake Browning, who's looked excellent last week. He's looking to overcome the Indianapolis Colts. Despite the absence of running back Jonathan Taylor, the Colts, slight road favorites, rely on the run game against the Bengals' 27th ranked run defense. But I'm taking the Bengals here. I'm taking the hot hand with Jake Browning. I think the Bengals get it done. I think it's a close game, but give me the Bengals in this matchup. New Orleans and Saints and the Carolina Panthers, you see it checked off there. I'll break more of that game down tomorrow. Let's move on to the matchup, the Cleveland Browns versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, the Jacksonville Jaguars have lost 2 consecutive games. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they face the Cleveland Browns, who have lost 2 consecutive games. I apologize. And the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence has a high ankle sprain, which leaves his availability uncertain. The backup, C.J. Berthead, looks to lead this team against the Browns squad. Honestly, this one is a little interesting to me. I could see the Browns taking this, but I'm rocking with the Jacksonville Jaguars because I feel like they're more talented from an offensive standpoint. The question is, do I trust CJ Berthead over Joe Flacco? That's a tough call for me. It's a tough call for me. So, but I'm rocking with the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right. Houston Texans confront the New York Jets. Now, the Texans lose their rookie wide receiver Tank Dell to a season-ending injury. The Texas quarterback, C.J. Stroud, leads the NFL in passing yards. While the Jets are on a 5-game losing streak, they reinstate Zach Wilson as their starting quarterback. Do I think that's going to make a difference? No. I think that Houston's riding high right now. They're riding hot. C.J. Stroud looks like a top 5 quarterback in the NFL right now. Even losing Tank Dell, who's a big piece of that offense, they still got Noah Brown. They still got Nico Collins. The running game's been good with Singletary and Pierce. Give me the Houston Texans in this game. Now, 49ers. I mean, this one's easy. Seattle Seahawks. They're on a 4-game winning streak. San Francisco, every single time during this time of year, goes on these big, huge winning streaks. Okay? And I think they lead the NFC West. They're going to extend their lead, I think, against the Seahawks. The Seahawks are on a 3-game skid right now. They remain somehow still in the wild card race, but I still think the 49ers win. Minnesota Vikings, okay, against the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, we all know this game, though, is strong against the spread in road games. The Minnesota Vikings they're strong against the spread in road games, but they face the Las Vegas Raiders. You got Joshua Dobbs at the quarterback. They face challenges and turnovers the past 2 weeks. I think the Raiders look for a win here. They are emphasizing the need for turnovers against the Vikings, a team prone to give away the ball a lot. So give me the Las Vegas Raiders. All right. Next up is a high-stakes clash that unfolds against the Buffalo Bills. They're taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Bills quarterback Josh Allen seeks to improvement after throwing interceptions in 8 consecutive games. The Chiefs, with a formidable defense and a recent scoring dip, aim to secure a crucial win in AFC playoff race. The problem is with the Chiefs is their wide receiver room. You know, we've seen what's happened with them lately. I think but the Bills have a chance to win this game, but it's hard for me to pick against Pat Mahomes and his value that he brings to the table. I'm rocking with the Chiefs. I think it's going to be close. I think it might even be a high-scoring game. I'm talking about like a 31-28 kind of game. It also depends if Josh Allen continues to play like he's been playing. Even though that loss against the Bengals, that's one of the best games I've seen Josh Allen play. But it seems that every time Josh Allen plays well, the Bills somehow still lose. So there's some questions on that defensive side and that defensive front for me. And in that secondary, we'll see what happens. But I'm taking the Chiefs in a close matchup in that one. Denver Broncos, they're squaring off against the Los Angeles Chargers. I think with the Broncos aiming to rebound from that road loss, Keenan Allen leads the league in receptions despite being 2 games behind current wildcard teams. They eye a playoff push with key matchups ahead. I think the Broncos still pull it out. Again, ever since the Broncos beat the Chiefs, it's something about Sean Payton, Russell Wilson have just put things together and have seemed to just turn things around over there in Denver. Next up is the NFC East. It takes the spotlight as the Philadelphia Eagles challenge the Dallas Cowboys. A win for the Cowboys could create a 10-3 tie. Like I said earlier, the Cowboys have a potent offense, makes them a favorite against the Eagles, who face a tougher remaining schedule. I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys not to get swept against the Eagles. I think they tied the division up here in this game, and the Dallas Cowboys win. Again, I think I could see this one being a close one, 31-28 kind of ordeal as well. Last but not least, you got the Green Bay. Well, no, I got one more game after the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers against the New York Giants. The Packers are on a 3-game winning streak right now. They beat the Kansas City Chiefs last week. They hold that final. Currently, the Green Bay holds that final NFC wildcard spot right now if the playoffs started. You got a rookie quarterback, Tommy DeVito, starts for the Giants right now. He's trying to build on his confidence and the recent success that he's had, lead the team to another victory. I think I'm taking the hot hand right now with Green Bay. Give me Green Bay to win this game. And last but not least, concluding the week, the Titans face the Miami Dolphins. All right. The Titans versus Miami Dolphins. Wait, the Monday night, is that the Green Bay Giants game? There's no way. Is there 2 Monday night games? Let me see something here. Am I wrong on that? Did I say that the Monday night game was the Green Bay game? Might be wrong on that, boys. I might be wrong on that. I don't think the Monday night game is in Green Bay. Green Bay versus the Giants. Why do I feel like that's not Monday night game? Oh shit! There is 2 Monday night games. Okay, I didn't realize that. Okay, I did not realize that. So the next Monday night game, you got the Tennessee Titans facing the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins on a 3-game winning streak. They hold the AFC's top seed right now. Give me the Miami Dolphins. It's simple, easy as that. I think that explosive offense is going to be too much for Tennessee's defense. So that is your Week 14 picks. All right, let's get into a mock draft. Guys, if you're just joining, we're going to do a mock draft to finish it off today. If you missed the thing, if you missed the talk about the Hunger Games, we will I'll do a rerun of it and going over that article at the end. I'll be right back though. BRB. Your boy's got to use the restroom. All right, sorry. I am back. All right, let's do a mock draft. Let's see. Let's share this screen. All right, let's get into it. Is it not sharing my screen? I see why. Hold on. There we go. That's good there. That's good there. That's good there. I think this is the most realistic we're going to do. All right, so I'm going to try to do some trades again today in this mock draft. I'm going to try to trade in the first round again, which I think we can definitely do. So, again, I'm a big believer that at this point, if you're not going to re-sign him, you might as well get rid of him and might as well get some value out of him. So, we'll trade Brian Burns. You're not going to get him. Now, New England might do it. I doubt it. Nah, see, they're not going to do it. Now, they would do it for a second round, see? They would do it for their second round. So, you could get back-to-back picks with them, at least from that standpoint. Nope. They would do it for that, right? So, you're not going to get them. Arizona for the third round pick. Probably not. Maybe the 18th. Okay, see, they would probably do it for the 18th, but that's about it. Okay, they would do the 18th and the 67th. Okay, let's see if we can. I might come back and swindle them. I don't know. See the 4th and 36, maybe 37th. No, 68th. They're not interested. Okay. Jets. No, they don't care about him. Giants, 7th, 48th, 71, 107, 185. No. Okay. So they're not trading him. Titans, do they want him? No. Second round pick, they would want him. Now in the comments, would y'all take a second round pick? No. I wouldn't. So we could get swindle the Saints, but they ain't going to do that with us. 47% chance, 59% chance they trade for Knight. Now we get into teams, I guarantee you, 77% chance. I think our best bet still is going to be against this says for this first they would trade it. But I'm trying to get an extra draft pick out of them. They would give us the 12th pick. Los Angeles Chargers. 58% chance. Okay. Buffalo, maybe. Oh, they would do it for that? Nope, not their second round pick. 99th. That's a 4th round pick, right? Or is that the end of the 3rd? Let's see, 99th. Is that a 3rd round pick? That's the end of the 3rd. So basically, you're getting the 14th and a 3rd round pick. Possibly. We possibly could rock with that. But then in the Denver Broncos, they'll give us that straight up. Guarantee you. You get the 79th pick. Offer trade. All right, let's offer them. Let's offer them our last pick. Okay, they don't like that. Okay, what if we offer them our 6th pick? No, they don't like that either. Maybe we offer them an extra 5th, or maybe we offer them a 5th pick. Perfect. So all we gave up was a 5th pick and Brian Burns for a 1st and a 3rd. Now let's start the draft. We got the 15th pick overall. Let's see what we get here. Let's see what we get. All right. So we could go with Jared Verse and replace our edge rusher, but I know everybody wants to go with a big time wide receiver. Granted, I like Keon Coleman. I like him, but I'm still think that Emeka Ibuka is going to be a guy that benefits Bryce more because of his speed. Emeka Ibuka runs a 4.3 flat. Okay, he runs a 4.3 flat, so he's fast. I think that Bryce for the way he plays, because I'm thinking about Bryce at this time. All right. You have to go with a wide receiver with more speed. Granted, I like Keon Coleman because I think his height benefits, right? He's a guy that can go up and get catches for you, right? The way that the scheme and style that fits Bryce, it's getting the ball out quick. Emeka Ibuka, you can do that with him. So that's why I'm going with Emeka Ibuka here. All right, let's see. We still got our second round pick. Now this is where we're going to build again. This is where I'm going to go. I'm doing this based off of what I would think we should do. I like Troy from a left tackle standpoint. I think he's very, very good. But Jordan Morgan's better. I don't care what anybody says. This guy can do it all. He can run block, pass block, zone block, whatever you want him to do, he's got you. Okay. He is just consistent on the field. All right. Now I know this kind of looks like the same one I had yesterday. But now that we've made some trades, so we're already in the second round. I'm going to make a trade once we get to the third, or I'm going to pause here. And well, no, we'll wait till we get to the third round. I'm going to see if I can get an extra third round pick for Jeremy Chin now. So we trade away Burns, got a first round pick and a third round pick for him. Was able to get Emeka Ibuka in the first. We were able to get our left tackle in the second. Now, which means now we can move Icky to the inside. This is how my game plan is going. This is how I'm thinking as a GM. I'm trading Brian Burns away because I'm not committed to re-signing him. And, you know, he's not, and it's going to cost me too much money at this point, right? So, and we're not committed to our key players. You know, as a GM, we're just not here in Carolina. Our GM is just not committed. Our owner's not committed to key players. So what we're going to do is we're going to take him. We're going to trade him for a first and a third, and then we'll just give them a fifth round pick on top of that. Okay. We had an extra fifth round pick. So you know what? Why not just we'll use the late one, give it to them. And we got a nice trade there with the Broncos. So we got the Broncos 15th pick, and we were able to get Emeka Ibuka, who I think is going to be a great wide receiver with the speed that he has at 4.3 speed flat. I think he's a great fit and will be a good fit for this offense and a good fit for Bryce, someone he can get the ball out quickly to. Now that we're in the third round, okay, it's my pick. All right, it's our pick, but I'm going to make a trade. I'm going to try to trade Jeremy Chin here and get an extra third round pick out of it. Maybe them, but I don't think the Cardinals are going to go for it. I think more like a team like, let's see who's looking for that safety position, right? Okay, there's Green Bay. They got us there looking for safety. But look no further. I got you right here. They will not trade this, accept this trade. Okay. Let's try. See who else needs a safety. Another Green Bay. Maybe the 84th pick for Jeremy Chin. Nope. Let's just try it. So they don't want him. All right. So let's see who else needs a safety as we go down here. Okay. Cleveland. Could be an interesting trade here. Jeremy Chin, 3rd round pick at 88. No. Do we really need the set? We got the 79th pick. So do we really need to trade Jeremy Chin here? No, not necessarily, because we got 2 back-to-back picks in this round. So maybe we could save him and wait till the next round. All right. So I'm going to save him, wait till the next round. And this is where I'm going to try to build again the offensive line. I'm a big believer in building within the trenches and getting an offensive line. Now, granted, there are some guys here I can wait for. Van Prance right here, who would be a stud center. Granted, is the value there. So could we go another wide receiver in the 3rd round? We most definitely could. But again, I really want to build inside this offensive line. Now, can I go running back? There's some decent running backs still here. But I think I'm going to be able to get Audric Esteem. The dude's a 6'2", 220-pound running back, runs a 4.4 40. I think he'd be great as a guy that you would want back here, a big downhill runner to go alongside Chuba Hubbard and those guys in the backfield. Could I go a tight end here possibly? I mean, Luke Lachey's here at 68. Ranked at 68. I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to get a nice tight end here. Maybe we'll switch it up, get a nice tight end right here. So let's go with a tight end. I think a tight end, but then let's look at the defense. When's the last time? We kind of want to look at these corners. There's some corners here. I can maybe wait in the late rounds to get a decent corner. I feel like the defensive line is huge here because, we do need some help to help Derek Brown out on that defensive line. We could go with Mekhi Wingo here, who I think is great. I'm also a big fan of Tavondre Sweat. I think Tavondre Sweat's the guy we should go with. So let's build that defensive line. We've already got our left tackle. Maybe we could save, we can build that defensive line now up a little bit, which we did there. And we got us a 3rd round pick here already. An extra 3rd round pick. So really getting Jeremy Chin for a 3rd round pick probably was going to be impossible. But we got back-to-back picks because of the trade we made with Denver here in the 3rd round. Now I think I could probably trade Jeremy Chin for a 4th round pick, an extra 4th round pick. As much as I love Jeremy Chin, but we got to think about draft capital here. So we've gone wide receiver. We've gone left tackle. Now, and then we go inside, right? We've gone inside. This is where I think I will take the tight end. Well, no, I'm not going to. The value's just not there for A.J. Barner. Running back, maybe. Could go with Devon Edwards here. Not a big Devon Edwards. I mean, he's in my top 5, but could go with a corner here. Carson's a good one. He's not better than, I don't think he's better than Kyrie Jackson or Chris Abrams. I think those 2 guys are sleepers here. So again, where do we go? Well, let's look at the linebacker core, okay? Maurice Lefau. We definitely need a linebacker to run that backfield, run that linebacker core because we don't have one. But this is very interesting because now this was where it kind of gets interesting. Now I could, since I got a defensive lineman, I could go edge rusher because we do need a replacement there. And Jack Sawyer is right here, and I kind of like that. So I'm going to rock with Jack Sawyer. I'm glad I double checked the edge rushers on that. Because we traded Brian Burns away, we got that first round pick. We were able to get an extra wide receiver we needed. But now that we're going to get into the fourth round, we were able to also get an extra third round pick out of that Brian Burns trade. All right, so we were able to get 2 picks in the third round. We had 2 picks in the and then we had a pick in the second round. Let's see what we can see if maybe we can trade an extra pick. Let's see if we can get Jeremy Chin. So what we're going to try to do now is trade Jeremy Chin for an extra 4th round pick. If we can. Which we might be able to do. We've got the 101. Then we got the 138 in the 5th. Which I might be able to trade Dante Jackson for a 5th. So my goal here is to try to trade away Jeremy Chin here and see if I can get at least a 4th round pick for him. Now, I need to go with a team I feel that has the need for a safety here. And bingo, bango. Where are they at? 120? Nope. We're not willing to trade for him. That 120 pick is not right there. Maybe Arizona. Maybe Arizona's will give us their 4th round pick for him. Okay. Arizona seems interested in him at 103. So, if they're interested, let's offer the trade. Well, they accepted it. Okay. Great. So now we're on the board. Now this is where I'm going to go wide receiver. Could get Torrey Horton, who I like. Jermaine Burton's here right now. Let's look at my draft board real quick. I got to pull up my draft board. So pulling up my draft board, I really use this for the wide receiver positions because this is a big one. And Jermaine Burton's right there. Another guy who's got 4.3 speed. That's probably who I'm going to go with here because of the 4.3 speed. Now we have Emeka Buka. You got Jermaine Burton because guess what? You got 2 guys who are running 4.3 speeds. Get the ball out. You're able to get the ball out quick when guys can run that fast. Okay, now I'm going to go inside guard, but I want Cedric Van Pran. Guess what? Cedric Van Pran's right there. I'm going to also be able to get a tight end, I feel, in the 5th round. Once I make that trade in the 5th round, I'm going to try to trade Dante Jackson for a 5th round pick to get an extra 5th round pick, and I get a tight end out of it. We're trying to build this roster back up with talent. I'm trying to build it up with speed, at least from the offensive standpoint. We're able to replace our edge rusher with Jack Sawyer. We added to some help there with I was able to add some help there with on the defensive line on Derek Brown's side of the ball. On the defensive line, I was able to help him and bring in Tavondre Sweat. So, that was a nice pickup. You got Emeka Buka. I think so far we've done pretty well in getting things that we needed. The only thing I think we need to do now is probably finish it off. Like, I don't want to trade Dante Jackson because we do need cornerback help. But again, I need to get an extra pick here. Do I really need to trade Dante Jackson? Because I could get a corner here. But again, I could get 2 picks. I can get an extra 5th round pick. So I could get a corner in the 5th round. And then get my tight end as well. You're getting 2 for the price of 1 almost when you're doing these kinds of trades, in my opinion. So now, let's go to trade. So now we got a Dante Jackson. So who needs a corner? Well, perfect. 140 right there says the Cardinals need a corner. Likely to make this trade, accept it. Perfect. So we'll hit trade again. We're going to go draft a player. Now, do I go running back? I think I'm going to save the running back because I think I like Isaiah Davis, and I probably could get him at the end of the draft. All right, he's a big running back. He's a downhill runner. Now I can go with a great. I feel like I could go with Theo Johnson here. I could go with Holker here, but Cade Stover's right there at 167. Kind of might wait until I get into that 140, see what happens. So we got our offensive line handled. We got our edge rusher. We got a defensive tackle, right? We got 2 wide receivers, okay? Really what we need to do is replace. Okay, we got to replace Dante Jackson. So I'm going to go with Kyrie Jackson here. Now that we got the 140 pick, I was able to get a corner out of it, and then I'm able to bring in Cade Stover because Cade Stover is better than all these guys. And so give me Cade Stover, and then we got a 181. We've literally replaced everything we needed so far in this draft just by making those 3 trades, in my opinion. Some of you may like this, some of you don't. That's how I'm breaking this down right now. Let's see how this pans out. As long as we got Fitter, a draft won't matter. He doesn't know how to draft. Well, I mean, when they can hire me, y'all should tell him, come check out Clay's mock drafts. If he takes it after me, maybe he might have a job. This is pretty solid though. So far. So this is where it gets interesting. Now, is my boy still on the board here? He sure is. So we'll wait for him. Okay. Do we go get a quarterback to bring in and mess around with Bryce? Probably not. This is where I really want to either grab another corner or a linebacker. Ben Baywider, nah. Michael Barrett's not bad. I like Michael Barrett. I'm probably going to grab him right here. So I'll probably draft him. Now we got a linebacker. And with that trade with Dante Jackson, we're not going to eat that $15 million contract now, which opens up cap space for this year to sign some guys in free agency. Hello. There's a method to my madness. When you do these mock drafts and I'm making these trades, there's a method to my madness. Why did we trade Jeremy Chin? Well, because we're not using him and we're not using him correctly. So, I might as well trade him and let someone use him correctly and let him have his talents. Why'd you take Dante Jackson? Well, I was able to get an extra draft pick in the 5th round, and I was able to grab not only an extra corner, but I was able to grab a tight end that's going to benefit us on an offensive side of the ball. But I was also able to grab 2 wide receivers, and now I'm about to grab the running back that's a sleeper that no one's going to think about getting because he plays at a small-ass school, but yet the guy ran for over 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns. He's got a 4.4 speed, and he's 6'2", 221 pounds. So there's a method to my madness. Again, with the Dante Jackson trade, I was not only was I able to get another corner to replace him with, but I was also able to get an extra player to benefit us. So now, once I get to the end of this draft pick and I start the 7th round, now I'm going to take that running back. And there he is. Isaiah Davis. Heck, I could have gone with Robert Lewis if I wanted to add another wide receiver, though. Not going to lie. Mario Williams was still on the board there, too. Dang. Jacob Cowing was still on the board. Dang. In the 7th round. That's how crazy how good this draft class is for wide receivers. You could still get decent. You could get some sleepers at the end. All right, let's move forward. Speed this up. Let's see how we did. Let's see how we did. Let's see how we did. Okay, for some reason PFF does not like Jordan Morgan. For some reason they just don't. I don't get it. But see, all right, so we made a 1st round trade, right? Brian Burns' issue, it's either you're going to end up trading him or signing him, because even if you franchise tag him, they'll probably end up trading him anyways. So you trade it. I got a trade that was available for Brian Burns. They gave me a 1st and a 3rd. And I gave him a 5th on top of that. But then I was able to get Emeka Egbuka at 15. Then I was able to get, all right, I was able to get a 3rd round pick. So I was able to get an extra one here. I get Jordan Morgan in the 2nd round, who's the best left tackle on that board at that point. He's better. Jordan Morgan's better than that Troy Fautanu. This guy's better than him. You get him in the 2nd round. You move Iki to left guard. Boom. You bring in Tavondre Sweat in the 3rd round, but yet, since in that trade, I was able to get Jack Sawyer to replace Burns, who's a great edge rusher and great value in that 3rd round. You get Tavondre Sweat, okay? You get Tavondre Sweat to go alongside Derek Brown to bring in some help there in that. Then, now you've got Emeka Egbuka and you got Jermaine Burton, both guys who run 4.3 40s. So now you got this both, you got speed on the outside. Okay. So you can help Bryce out if you're, whoever the quarterback is, you're still going to have speed. You're going to be able to get the ball out quick with these guys because they're going to be able to get open, right? I'm kind of going in my mind, I'm thinking about this offense from a Miami standpoint. I would want to run a Miami offense if I got two guys like this, right, running routes, okay? Then you bring in Cedric Van Pran, and we were able to get him because I was able to trade Jeremy Chenaway for an extra 4th-round pick on top of the Jermaine Burton. So I'm able to build down. Now I have a center to build with my future with. And we all know how good Cedric Van Pran is. All right, so the value's there. Then you replace, all right, so then we make a trade, right? We get up to our 38, we get to our 5th-round pick. We get up there. We trade away Dante Jackson for a 5th-round pick to the Cardinals because they need a corner, right? They needed a safety, so we were able to give them both of those guys. You get Kyrie Jackson, who's a great corner and probably one of the top 10 corners in this draft, in my opinion. You get Cade Stover, who, in my opinion, is a top 5 tight end, right? Then, when's the last time we've had a really good linebacker? Michael Barrett in the 6th round is great value. And then you get a big Haas running back who runs a 4.4 40, 6'2", 221 pounds, downhill runner, Isaiah Davis. You bring him in. Now, granted, the overall, they gave me a C+, but I think the value is here. That's just me. You build your team up. We're able to get some offensive weapons. You're able to build the offensive line. And then you replace Brian Burns. Now, I'm not saying Jack Sawyer is going to be Brian Burns, but Jack Sawyer could be a Brian Burns. We never know. But again, he's really freaking good. So, I don't know. Let's go. I'm going to post this up on Twitter, see what people think. So, appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Make sure you pound that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Click that post notifications bell so you don't miss out on any new content. I am live Monday through Friday, sometimes even on Sunday. Just depends, right? So make sure you subscribe to the channel. This tells you everything down at the bottom, what you need to do. 1, you pound that like button. 2, subscribe to the channel because we're on the road to 5K. 3, you'll get in the chat, leave a comment, okay? 4, you click that post notifications bell so you don't miss out on any content. And thank you for your continued support. But P.S., you can become a member today. Also, check out all my links down below. My link tree is down below. You can join the Discord. All my social media is up above. You got the BetUS sponsorship of today's live stream, as always. So, appreciate everyone joining the live stream. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Keep pounding. Peace.